As many of you know, just over 4 years ago, the United States SEC filed its lawsuit against Ripple. I'm finally able to announce that this case has ended. It's over.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The SEC case is over, and we are in a new day, ladies and gentlemen. And if you made it here, you should well know that you are at Kung Tech Fu. And this is the Pindecker doing crypto kung fu with you all day long. And what we're going to do is we're going to review XRP, and not only XRP, but also how can we earn yield on our XRP so that we don't have to sell our XRP. You see, the common mistake is that people bring the wrong mentality into cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency was developed by Satoshi Nakamoto himself. Whether it's a person or an organization, who he is, that doesn't even matter. What does matter, ladies and gentlemen, is that it was built with an idea in mind. And that idea, ladies and gentlemen, was freedom from poverty. That's right. If you're into cryptocurrency, you have literally given yourself a license to make all of the money that you want using the principle of compound interest. And with that, we're going to dig right in, ladies and gentlemen. But before we do, we're going to mention KINESIS money, which gives you the ability to have tokenized gold and silver. We're going to mention SPRITZ finance, which allows you to pay your bills with crypto. And we, of course, are going to mention UPHOLD, which is one of the greatest exchanges that I use every day, ladies and gentlemen. And we're even going to mention MEXC, which is another great one. So the links for my referrals will be down in the description below. Feel free to go and sign up, because those are the very tools that you're going to need to build the foundation. So before we get underway, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick look at the PDF file. And as you can see on my screen, everything is completely cryptoed out. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at this PDF file. And if you want a copy of this PDF file, I believe you're really going to need this for your library. And what this is this is a comprehensive approach to determine the fair market value of XRP, ladies and gentlemen. And it even has some arrows down here at the bottom. And if you click on the arrows, you can see how it just kind of flips through the booklet, and you can actually read through all of this. And one of the things where you go to page right here, and this page shows you a cross-model comparison of where XRP is going to go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, there's also something else that you should know concerning cryptocurrency. Every cryptocurrency has its designation. Every cryptocurrency has its category. And XRP is for banking derivatives, just as XDC is for shipping and merchandising, just as Stellar Lumens is for retail. So when you buy a coin, you're not buying a coin so that you can get a 20x or a 50x, because if you sell your coins, you have nothing to earn yield with, ladies and gentlemen. This is the difference between a gambler and an investor, ladies and gentlemen. So if we look at this cross model, and I've shown this before, I will also leave the link for this PDF down in the description below, ladies and gentlemen. And before we go any further, I just want to remind you to go ahead and smash that like and subscribe button, because we need at least 1,000 subscribers before we can monetize this channel and really make it something special, ladies and gentlemen, because here we are giving you the real deal, no holds barred. We're basically giving you underground information on the surface, in plain view, total transparency, which is what crypto is all about, ladies and gentlemen. If we look here at this cross model and we go down, we can see that if we look at this model and we go across the top, we have prices of where XRP plans to go. But where does XRP really belong? It really belongs in the section, ladies and gentlemen, of right here where it says quantum liquidity. And if we look at the model, the median value, ladies and gentlemen, is where it begins, at this number that you see right in front of you. And if we continue to scroll over and we look at the median value, we see another number. And if we go to the last one, we see this next number right here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not even going to say the number out loud. You can see it for yourself. So ultimately, as I like to say, ladies and gentlemen, ultimately price is a distraction because it's all about buying and holding, and it's all about earning yield on your XRP so that you never have to sell it. So your crypto indeed becomes a family heirloom, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if we go back, one of the first things that we got to talk about, besides looking at the fair market value, is we have to look at the wallets, ladies and gentlemen. So of course, we're going to have to take a look at this wallet right here, ladies and gentlemen, which is the Zaman wallet that you see circling right here. Now, the Zaman wallet is going to not only hold your XRP, but it's going to allow you to get on the XRP ledger, ladies and gentlemen, where you will be able to interact, where you will be able to set up trust lines. Now, if you go into your normal MetaMask or any EVM wallet like that, when you want a token in those wallets, you import a token, as most of you already know. But on the XRP ledger, you actually establish a trust line because you're doing something very different. And speaking of wallets besides the Zaman, there's also another wallet that you're going to have to come in contact with. And of course, that wallet is called the Girin wallet, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the Girin wallet, if we go down here and we simply look at about the app, it tells you that, it's a seamless experience and access to the root network and XRP ledger simultaneously. Now, the root network is a wonderful, wonderful metaverse, ladies and gentlemen, that they are bringing into manifestation. And if you saw the movie Ready Player One, the root network is actually bringing that experience into reality, ladies and gentlemen. So find out about the root network. Look out for my next videos. I will be covering the root network, and I will be covering all things XRP and more. And if we go back to the home page here, not only are we looking at the Girin wallet and the root network, but we are also looking at how to earn yield. And how we earn yield is through the AMMs, or the automated market makers, by providing liquidity. So this is why you have to educate yourself. So of course, you want to go on things like Sologenic is one of the, how should I say, OGs in the space, ladies and gentlemen. So Sologenic, if we go here and we simply click on it, it's advanced tokenization solutions for institutions. And Sologenic has also, it has its own coin, ladies and gentlemen. And one of the coins that it created from this DEX is known as Corium. And Corium, of course, factors into the equation of the Cosmos Atom ecosystem with over 100 blockchains that they call zones. So now XRP has a direct link into the Cosmos Atom ecosystem, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a very short video. I'm just showing you the places where you need to look and interact with in order to be into the great things that are happening with XRP and into the future. Because remember, you've got 5 years, ladies and gentlemen. At the time of this video, you got 5 years before 2030 hits. And when 2030 hits, everything will be different. And if you aren't in on this first wave, you will get left behind. Another thing that you should know concerning the banks is that they have recently determined that banks will save $39 trillion a year, ladies and gentlemen, using XRP. And let's see if we can find that. Watch this real quick. Banks saving, I'm not making this stuff up, banks saving $39 trillion using XRP. Using XRP. Let's see what we come up with. You see, you got videos, you got articles, and All you have to do is type that in, especially if you go into YouTube, and you will see that they have determined that banks will save $39 trillion a year using XRP. So therefore, any bank that doesn't use XRP will get left behind. They will not be able to keep up, ladies and gentlemen. And all of that 3 to 5 days to clear a check, that's over, because now we will have instantaneous financial settlement. So instead of 3 to 5 days to clear your financial settlement, it's going to be more like 3 to 5 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, if that, okay? Because we are dealing with the bridge neutral currency of the entire globe, which is XRP, ladies and gentlemen. So, on top of that, let's also look at what's going on with another DEX, ladies and gentlemen. And that other DEX is none other than... Before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, let us quickly look at Doppler Finance, ladies and gentlemen. Doppler Finance is the ultimate yield platform for XRPL ecosystem, ladies and gentlemen, bringing DeFi to XRP. The long-awaited dream is now here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first XRP-Fi, ladies and gentlemen. Transform idle XRP into active asset, ladies and gentlemen. XRP depositors, for the first time in history, XRP holders have the opportunity to stake their XRP and earn yield. Idle XRP, which has remained dormant until now, transformed into active assets through Doppler Finance. XRP deposited into Doppler Finance will not only be utilized in CDeFi and DeFi, but will also continue to expand its utility, eventually contributing to crypto economic security and beyond. Now, it also tells you about Doppler DeFi users, liquid staking tokens created for XRP and XRP sidechain tokens on Doppler can be utilized across various DeFi services within the XRP ledger ecosystem. Users can maximize the yield generation from Doppler by leveraging DeFi opportunities, such as leverage staking through lending protocols, ladies and gentlemen. And it just goes down here to tell you that Doppler Finance is the ultimate yield protocol for XRP ecosystem. And you can look through this for yourself on the landing page, ladies and gentlemen. And you can go see that they are intertwined with the Root Network, Futureverse, EVM sidechain, the XRP ledger, and Fireblocks, of course. But if we hit the launch app, ladies and gentlemen, we can go here and we can connect our wallet to our Zaman or our Girin wallet, whatever we're using, that we have an account on the XRP ledger with. And we can go in here, and there is a TVL right now of $2.52 million, ladies and gentlemen. And your reward is the DP token, all right? And, okay, that's the Doppler protocol token, of course. But if we look down here at the cap, we can see that 100% of the deposit has been reached. So we can't get into this part just yet until there's another epoch, ladies and gentlemen, at which point, because it is already filled up in this particular department. But this is the first XRP file, ladies and gentlemen. And if we go up here to the top right where the hamburger menu is, we can see that there are other things that are in development, like the RLUSD, which is Ripple's stablecoin deposit coming up. We also see they have lending, which is active right now. We've got liquid staking coming up. That's why it's grayed out. And then up there, of course, there's the dashboard that will show you what you're interacting with. But if we click on the lending, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lending and borrowing protocol for our XRP so that we never ever have to sell. You will be able to come in here and you will be able to put your XRP and take a collateralized loan from yourself, ladies and gentlemen, utilizing your XRP. How great is that? Lending protocols is one of the most powerful maneuvers in all of DeFi, and now we have it here on XRP, ladies and gentlemen. So this, of course, is the Root Network here, and if we click this button, I don't think we can have any other mainnets. So this is primarily, as it is now, is going to take place through the Root Network. I will do a deep dive into this. I will connect my wallet, and I will come in here and I will show you guys how it's actually going to work, ladies and gentlemen. So we go down here, you even have a point system. You can go in here on the XRP ledger. The wallet's not connected, but you can earn Doppler points, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the leaderboard. So if I were you, I would jump in here with my XRP and my XRP wallet and get in where you fit in as more and more things become available so that you too can be an XRP master. None other than XP Markets, ladies and gentlemen, and another DEX that we're going to take a look at, which is called Magnetic. And these are the AMMs where you can buy coins utilizing your Zamin wallet, using your Girin wallet, or whatever XRP wallet that you're going to use that you have established that you are on the XRP ledger. It used to be 10 coins that you had to have in reserve, but we all know that XRP is going to a high level, a high price point, ladies and gentlemen. So that they lowered it down, and I think it's like 2. I think it's like 2 right now. I can actually go into the wallet and look, but I think it's 2 right now. One or 2 that you have to hold in reserve in order to maintain on the XRP ledger, ladies and gentlemen. But if we come out of here, we can also take a look at Magnetic, ladies and gentlemen. Magnetic XRP. XRPmagnetic.org, ladies and gentlemen. This is another wonderful DEX for you to go into where you can provide liquidity. Now, providing liquidity is indeed a skill set that if you don't have it, you need to learn it, because it's being done across all blockchains and DAG systems, because some cryptocurrency does not have a blockchain. It has a DAG system, which stands for Directed Acyclic Graph, ladies and gentlemen. But providing liquidity is usually in the form of staking, which is like version 1. You got version 2 where you're putting a couple of 2 coins together usually. You've got version 3, which is concentrated liquidity. And you even have version 4, ladies and gentlemen. And these are things that you need to know so that you can extract the rich resources of what's going on with XRP, ladies and gentlemen. As a matter of fact, did you know that XRP was always the plan? Did you know that XRP was here 20 years before Bitcoin was even invented? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. So if we go and we look into my videos, ladies and gentlemen, I did a video 10 months ago that showed you how XRP was always the plan, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen, because if we look here, we go back, I showed you even in a 1992 movie, ladies and gentlemen, called Sneakers. They came up with this picture right here. XRP. And they were, you know, trying to find some stuff. Now you can go and watch that video where you will see David Schwartz had the patent for XRP way back in 1988, and he filed it in 1991, ladies and gentlemen. So before Bitcoin was even invented in 2008, XRP was the plan, ladies and gentlemen. And BTC is an acronym, and people think it stands for Bitcoin, but BTC does not stand for Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. It stands for Beta Test Coin, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you can refute that, I'd love to hear from you down in the comments section. So that's it, and that's all, ladies and gentlemen. So we are going to continue to ride this crypto train. We are going to continue to stack our chips. We are going to continue to know and understand that all you need is 10,000 XRP to be in the top 10%. And we are going to earn yield on our XRP and other cryptos so that we never, ever have to sell like a true investor. This is the Pin Decker signing off once again, giving you all of the things that you need in order to utilize the principle of compound interest. Once again, signing off. So you guys already know, let's get this crypto.